Well, hello and welcome to PM Express. And what's on the table today for discussion? We're looking at the NPP elections, the National Executives election as per their constitution. All national executive will hold power for a certain period of time, and then after you'd have to bring yourself forward to see if you're still liked by the party, and then you get either kicked out or voted in. And Saturday the 7th is that day. And as usual, monocracy has led its head into the politics. And I always say that we get the leaders that we deserve. When will this money aspect creep out of our politics? Our politics is becoming too much money-centered instead of integrity-centered, instead of the ideology centers as to whether they are liberal, leftist, rightist, how they voted or acted, or what campaigns and what demonstrations they joined in the past. All do not seem to matter to us. It's all about, how much do you give us and who has been in there for long. What happened to integrity and substance when you're looking for leadership? So come Saturday, is that what that's going to be scrutinized for? Or is it going to be those who were able to dish out those in the background? We've already heard that one candidate has bought a bus for all constituencies, and the other candidates complaining that, how did you afford it? And that's a big question. How did you afford it? Is this vote buying or vote coercing? What is it? Because after he becomes the chairman, after he wins the party, should he win or not, is all these things for free? Is he Father Christmas? Is he going to pay back? All the candidates are paying out. When will monocracy leave our politics? And what can the NPP do coming this Saturday that this money inducement will not creep in? And these are the matters on the table today. My name is Nana Ansakwa, the fourth Chief of the Little Republic of Akwama Dumas. And when I come back, I have two fine gentlemen who are going to talk about NPP National Executive elections. Don't go. Well, thank you very much for staying, and with me in the studio needs no introduction at all is Mr. Frank Odro, who is a political, Fred Odro, I beg your pardon, political and governance analyst. Freddie, you're welcome.
Thank you, Nana. But I think you slaughtered a goat.
I have to. I don't know, even though they were rating Frank here, I should have said Fred, right? So I'll get the goat from whoever typed this.
Yes, yes. This one,
there's me shifting
we have
blame,
to take it to the palace.
There's me shifting blame. And I have also in studio Kojo Asimeni, Honorable Member of Parliament for Gomoa East. Kojo, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Great. Kojo, it's the first time on the on my show. Yeah. So I'm Bantamusa. Will be a goat, and then I use it to pay.
I'll pay.
So, Kojo, what can we? Is it the usual business as usual, or what can we expect on Saturday?
Thank you so much, and like you said, a good evening to your viewers, and I'm happy to be here on your show. I think we should expect what the NPP is made of. We've gone through all the stages of our elections, from polling stations to constituencies to region, and now we are at who will be the leaders for our party at the national level. And that is in pursuant to for our constitution, Article 10. We all have to go and meet and do this annual delegate conference and elect leaders. And as usual of NPP, decorum is at the center stage. Respect for each candidate is at the center stage. We are very sure of the abilities of all the people who are putting themselves up to take positions in the party. And at the end of the day, we are very confident that the best and the very best, or the creme de la creme of our party will be selected to man the affairs of the party. very also confident that I know, like in your intro, the things that you threw in, they are not things that people normally talk about them when we are going to congresses or conferences, and it doesn't really. It's more of perception than what is really on the ground. At the end of the day, you realize that when the beans is taken out of, the stones are taken out, you realize that all of us will come together as one people. And it's because of the competition, you realize that it's because of the competition that some of these things were coming up, and it wasn't anything at all. Today I've seen some images on Facebook of bundles of money with pictures of some of the leading candidates in our competition on it. Yes, I mean, it can even come from people from outside, and it's not really the situation on the ground.
Fred, I mean, you are not a stranger to Ghana's politics. You think monocracy is more perception, or it's something on the ground?
It's a reality, without mincing words, Nana. It is a major problem in our body politics, and I think every effort should be done to stop it. I'm very disappointed in what is happening now, and I think if we mean business with fighting critical problems like corruption and all sorts of things, I think we should all condemn this act. Let me zero in particularly on this vehicle, and I am so disappointed because I felt Mr. Blay has got the election to win. I mean, if you get the opportunity to talk about some of the positions like the chairmanship and maybe the youth organizer, there are some positions that are quite competitive. I believe John Boadu and Sami Oku, it will take a monumental catastrophe for them to lose. If they can lose, I doubt that very much. And sincerely, I put Mr. Blay within that bracket, because the reason why I believe Samuel Oku and John Boadu are going to win is the same reason why I believe Mr. Blay was also going to win, because of certain dynamics. Maybe the chairmanship role was quite competitive, but unfortunately, this vehicle, even if it's something he's doing it based on belief that this is what he should do, one, the timing is not correct. Then, because he's not just the chairman of the political party, he's the chairman of the ruling party. I believe the work he did to get a party into power should be enough for him to be voted as a substantive chairman. So this issue is bringing up a lot of issues, and he's opening his party up for attack by his political opponents. And I think even that is a very hypocritical act, because within our politics, we have monetized the process. Take the parliamentary elections. People will pay so much money. I quite remember in Bantama, somebody was able to present 10 taxes, vote for me and take it as executives. And we all watched. Now this is also happening. And especially when I think Mr. Blake could have won the election with this, I'm disappointed this has happened. People might give all sorts of reasons, justification, but I think it is wrong, because the party is in power. People are going to question him. What is the source of funding? So I think we should condemn that act. That's my candid opinion.
Okay, let's take an SOT on John Boadu. Let's see what the acting General Secretary say.
The conference shall be anchored on the theme, building a stronger party, delivering prosperity to Ghanaians. The choice of this theme is based on the fact that the party indeed recognizes the need to build and strengthen its structures to become more formidable in order to sustain power so that it can continue to deliver prosperity to the Ghanaian people. In all, the committee vetted 41 aspiring candidates and cleared each and every one of them as eligible to contest as candidates in the forthcoming elections. The breakdown is as follows. The national chairmanship, 3 candidates. The vice chairpersons, 7 candidates. General Secretary, 2 candidates. National Treasurer, 6 candidates. National Organizer, 3 candidates. National Youth Organizer, 4 candidates. National Women's Organizer, 2 candidates. National Nasara Coordinator, 14 candidates. The conference will be in 2 parts. The first part shall be for speeches where statements shall be taken from the National Chairman, report from the General Secretary, statement of account from the National Treasurer, statement from the leader of the parliamentary group, statement from former President John Ajikun Kufuor, and address by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We will also receive fraternal messages from other political parties and stakeholders that will grace the occasion. After this, the affairs of the conference shall be handed over to the National Elections Committee, which shall conduct the internal elections under the supervision of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. Day 3 shall be for Thanksgiving service to be observed at the Jesus Temple ICG's Koforidua. Candidate for the internal elections. The Reverend Asante led 5-member. We appeal to stakeholders, particularly the candidates for the respective positions and their teaming supporters, to respect the rules of engagement. So far, a bit okay. And conduct this exercise with the necessary finesse and maturity so that we will once again have an incident-free conference for the love of God and the party. It will be recalled that the party at an annual delegates conference held in Kumasi on December 7, 2017, considered and adopted with necessary modification the report from the ad hoc committee that was set up to streamline the various proposals for constitutional amendments. Consequently, the amended constitution was outlawed by the party.
Well, so that was the acting General Secretary there giving us a rundown of what to expect, the number of people contesting for various positions, and indeed it looks like a very, attractive competition, if I may say. But I'm going to Kojo because I'm sure you want to react.
Yeah, I wanted to
definitely.
Not necessarily react, but I wanted to, open some things up. I think that, unfortunately, people think that the buses that Chairman Blay is bringing is because specifically he wants votes. And like rightly,
but aren't you going to be naive if you think otherwise?
No, I'm coming. You know, this is a party that came to power on the back of saying we want jobs for the people, and we are in power. A lot of party foot soldiers who are licensed drivers and need jobs to do they're complaining they don't have work to do, and the government is doing all that it can. Private people are doing all they can to help the situation so that we get jobs for people. We have a team for our Congress as building a stronger party, meaning that at the party, at the local levels, at the constituency levels, people are not like getting any allowance or any compensation for the hard work they put in. And this is party work. It's a full-time work. So people leave their jobs to come and do this and all those things. So how do we resource the party? So if somebody creatively has done financial engineering, and anybody at all can look for money. Look, as I sit here, I'm seriously talking with my bankers. I'm left with one or two steps to take to get a facility to get vehicles for drivers in my constituency so that they can pay. So it is not free money. It's the work and pay system that is working in Ghana. That is what Uncle Blay is working on to get something like that. And unfortunately, people think that he is the acting chairman of the party, and by doing this for the party, it's his work. His work is to make sure he resolves the party, resolves the grassroots.
The timing,
the timing somehow, but even let's be fact, people need jobs to do. These cars will provide jobs for people, and the party at the grassroots, at the constituency level, will have some monthly or allowances that will come out of these vehicles. These vehicles are not going to be there going to be dashed to individuals. It's going to be run in the name of the constituencies. It's going to be the profit that comes out of running the bus. That is what is going to come to the constituency. And eventually, maybe after 5 years, when the car is fully paid for, that is when we can say that the car belongs to even that one. It will still be run professionally by whichever organization they will give it to, so that it will bring some income too. So there's not something that is like is being dashed to some group for vote. And those people, if you are looking at this from that level, every 4 years we vote. So is it going to, if you vote because of this car, are you going to be there to, it's for the party, it's for the stronger party side of our team for this conference.
What the average Ghanaian would think is that, look, in opposition, you wouldn't have even bought 200 bicycles, let alone 200, minibuses. As soon as you come into power, 275. So as soon as you come to power, you show this affluence, and then the perception which you said was wrong is that, well, they come into politics to enrich themselves.
So you think that when somebody with private people or with some banks try to put money together and do a project like this, it is enriching of individuals?
No. If I can just make honorable, you see, in politics, you would agree with me that perception is as important as the reality.
Yeah.
I did say that if we were to assess the chairmanship race now, I believe, for instance, Mr. Ntim, I believe he shot himself in the foot. So I'll be surprised if it turns out that he's won this election. Chairman Blay, I cited the example of Samia Uku and John Boadu. Together with Mr. Blay were the people who came together at perhaps the most difficult time in the political history of the NPP. He took over as the chairman, acting chairman, so to speak, took the party through the election, won perhaps the most resounding victory any political party could have won against an incumbent party, against all odds. I believe that he deserved just for that singular act. The question is why change a winning team? But then, in spite of this,
he is working. He's continuing his work by resourcing the party. It's not because of votes.
He could have done this after the election. Why not after the election?
But you just like you are saying, it takes time.
And even after the election, you know that all the anti-corruption groups have started raising concerns. Now his political opponents in parliament, I heard parliamentarians, at least Honorable Samson, saying he's going to drag him before.
And that's the way to go. We can't just be saying things.
It is hypocritical because all the political parties have opened themselves up for monetization. And I think perhaps this issue should not be allowed to rest. It should be taken to the full hog so that for once we can get our body politic rid of these acts. It's not helpful, honorable.
No, when you say
the perception out there is that you need to throw in a lot of money to get into politics. And it is wrong. It is not good.
Well, I am here. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm in the House not because I have money. Yes, I'm in that House. If you talk about money, if money is the reason for somebody to go to the House, then it means that I shouldn't be there at all. I'm like maybe 15 years
are you denying that perception exists?
No, I'm coming. It's more of perception than what is really on the ground. You know, you need resources. You need money. You need money to run campaigns. You need money to pay for adverts and all services, other services that people render to you when you are running for elections. That is constant. It's something that is there. But for especially to link this act by a certain chairman of a certain government, a political party, who want to, like our team said, we are there. We know what our people are saying. We know the effort that government is making, and the fact that we also have to, individuals have to complement. If somebody like this has come up with this nice financial engineering strategy to get buses, which is not for free, it's a loan. That would be
Assuming the NDC were going for the election and Mr. Potofi went to buy 275 buses, you would have eaten him alive.
Mr. Potofi going to buy
275 buses as they're going to. He's the chairman of the NDC. Assuming they were going for the national elections and he performed this miracle and got 200 excess buses.
So for example,
you would have eaten him alive.
For example, when they were in power, they chose to build their office.
And you didn't accept it. I mean, it was, one of your campaign messages all throughout.
And that one was, where did they get it from? That is not even a loan, something that is like, this is a program, a package. A loan scheme.
Well, unless you bring this loan agreement and everything, nobody's going to buy it.
So everybody is invited to do that. We should not just say stuff like it's monetization. I was there one day. I visited and I saw the bankers come with an agreement. You can go and ask for those terms, but I cannot just say because he has.
Who guaranteed this?
No, anybody who is.
Okay, let's hear what Mr. Stephen Ntim has been saying.
In love with your party or any organization that you belong to, and you are really in love with it. You don't wait till a situation arises where you need favor from the people or the members of that association before you say, I'm giving you the best. If you do that, it amounts to vote buying. I'm sure you all know that. You know it. Why is it that during the 2016 campaign, you didn't bring 275 pickups? I'm talking about pickups, not even buses. But you wait till when you say, vote for me and get these buses. That amounts to vote buying, I think so. If these things had come way back 2014, 2015, 2016, I would have said, oh, this is in good conscience. But not when you are asking for votes and you bring these things. It amounts to vote buying. Your other follow-up question was, I've been rewarded by Lands Commission, by the President at Lands Commission. This, I think, the President did in respect of the good job that I did in the 2016 campaign. Freddie Blay is chairman at GMPC. Hasn't he been rewarded? Why is he asking to become national chairman?
So that's Stephen Ntim, who's the major contender for the chairmanship between him and Freddie Blay. Those are the two. Fred, you seem to be saying Blay, but on the ground they are, I think there are people who think, look, Ntim deserves his go now because he's probably campaigned. When he even started the chairmanship, Freddie Blay wasn't an NPP member. That's what they say.
that is an interesting point. And indeed, I've heard Mr. Kujumpe Mpianim on one of your JoyNews platforms. I mean, pushing strongly that Mr. Blay is not a true party person. And indeed, I laughed. I laughed because I think that is the most unfair comment anybody can say about Mr. Blay. Mind you, he was the first deputy speaker on the ticket of the NPP. In fact, he was in parliament mostly because then under President Kufuor insisted some seats should be reserved for certain people. That put Mr. Ntim, Dr. Ntim in KEA. There was Honorable Kujuama. Then there was Honorable Freddie Blay. NPP did not put up candidates for them. And for as long as Mr. Blay was in parliament, he voted with NPP on every single issue. It was because of his closeness to the NPP that his own people had a lot of issues with him within the CPP. When he came out, he joined the NPP. He contested as the first vice president and won. That's how he became the acting chairman when Mr. Afoko was removed. So I find it quite weird that anybody would try to belittle his association with the party as if he just came in. He's been at the highest. If you take Mr. Ntim, I do have a lot of sympathy for him because he was once he was a vice chairman of the party. I don't remember whether first, second, or third, but he was a vice chairman of the party. He wanted to contest for the chairmanship slot and lost on 3 successive occasions. I have admired him because, notwithstanding the perennial losses, he stayed by the party, worked his sock to get a party elected. So I believe, I have a lot of sympathy for him. But I think he made a serious political miscalculation by indicating that, I mean, there was this leaked tape that stated that President Kufuor met with him and asked him to step down for one of the candidates who has now stepped down. I mean, even the stepping down of the man, Alaji Short, is even indicative that indeed Mr. Ntim made a serious political miscalculation. Because now it is coming out, and I have, again, Mr. Mpianim was very forceful in trying to support Mr. Ntim's bid. And I can tell you, maybe a lot of NPP people will not admit to this. Within the NPP, there is a perception that Mr. Mpianim belongs to the Afoko group. That he's part of the group that supported Alanche Martin when he was seeking to win the presidential bid. And now he was supporting Mr. Afoko. Today he is supporting another candidate who seems, according to his own words, seems to be a loggerheads, or his bid is having problems with the president. Do you think, I think it will be suicidal on the part of the NPP based on just this, because of the perceived difficulties he has with the president, that the president does not want him to be the chairman according to his own words, not according to the president. I think the party will not take a gamble by bringing him on, in spite of all the goodwill he would have had. So I think that he failed to manage, if it was indeed true, because I've also heard some people claiming the president has never said that to him. Whether it's true or not, his own admission to that issue puts him at a big disadvantage. Because the question will arise, would he not do an Afoko in course? That is, rebel against the president, should he become the chairman. So I think Mr. Ntim has shot himself in the foot. And no matter any plea about the fact that somebody is at the playing field is not level or anything will help him.
Koyo, You reckon he shot himself? It was a politically unwise decision to make that complaint?
You know, I have to tread cautiously with
Very cautious.
I can speak my mind.
We're talking about whether somebody has shot himself or not. But the fact of the matter is that it's a tough race, especially for the chairmanship. Like has been said, former first vice of the party, both of them. One of them has consistently, after getting out, has been consistently been trying to be the chairman of the party, and we know the issues that were in before Chairman Blake came to act as the chairman of the party. Like rightly so, it was a time that is the most difficult time ever in the history for me since. When I started seeing things, 1992. Yeah. From that time, you know, all the issues that came up to this time. This was the toughest 1 year. I mean, less than 1 year to just about a year to an election, and every day you hear issues, fighting, and the calmness and the peacefulness with which Chairman Blake brought to the seat, I mean the chairmanship seat, was very comforting to some of us. I mean, as a parliamentary candidate, I was so worried about what was happening, and unfortunately for us, His Excellency the former president, and I mean several occasions mounted platforms and cited the issues happening in our party as an example of the reasons why he says that we are not ready to rule the country. So
there was a lot of infighting at the top.
Yeah. So when we have crossed that bridge and we have come out with this massive win, over 1 million votes win, and we are looking at consolidating our gains. It is a worry to know that an aspiring chairman of the party says stuff that suggests that, hey, we are going to get to that time again, which everybody says never again. Should we get to that level where, I mean, our flag bearer or, for that matter, the president of the nation will not have a connection with the party hierarchy. And when there's that disconnect, I mean, it's something that's going to worry the party. So that's a major concern by most of us who are going to vote on Saturday, and we want to maybe look at it to address the issues. But all the same, the best person wins. We believe that they're all capable, Mr. Ntim, and I like the fact that he doesn't get lost even when it doesn't work out for him, and that's true patriotism or loyalty to the party.
I wonder how many blows he can take.
But let me quickly add, Nana, Dr. Mwakuba.
Yeah.
Dr. Mwakuba is also in the race, and let me make a confession. He's virtually a big brother to me.
Okay.
And if unfortunately, I don't think he has a whisker of hope of winning. If I ever had known he was going to contest,
you'd have advised him.
I would have.
No, but
he's a great academic.
He has to go now for recognition.
He's a great academic, and he's done very well. And he is one of the people I can stick my neck for.
But you don't think he has to go now for recognition?
I don't think he will win.
No, not to win, but for recognition, so that when it's time, at least they know who he
himself is not even actively campaigning.
I see. Let me take a quick break, and then when I come back, we'll look at some of the other positions, like the General Secretary and National Organizer, which is seems like a done deal. We'll find out why. Don't go. Well, thank you very much for staying, and we're looking at the national executive elections for the new patriotic party, which will come on Saturday, 7th July, which is going to be very, very interesting. But there are two positions that everybody thinks they are done deal, John Boadu and Samir Uku. John Boadu for General Secretary and National Organizer for Samia Wuku. Let me start with you. Why are these two people sort of cemented? I mean, we haven't heard any sort of monocracy from that side, but it's just a lot of support.
Sincerely, I'm not aware if there's somebody contesting Samia Wuku.
Yeah, apparently there's one other person.
Apparently so.
Two others.
Two other people.
Really, it's strange. I don't even know. I never knew he was being contested. Somebody. I know a gentleman came down from, I think, the UK or so. He says he's contesting John Boadu. And I have not seen, except on only one platform, I believe on, if I can mention TV3.
Of course.
Well, yes. I think it's on one platform on TV3. And I consider I try to abreast myself in these issues. And if you look at John Boadu has got good media presence. He speaks very well, he's very knowledgeable. And again, he was the organizer. There was a crisis within the NPP. He was asked to take up the role of acting general secretary.
Do you think he filled that role well?
He did extremely well. Because mind you, he was coming against perhaps the most experienced and politically astute Mr. Delegates. And John Boadu stood his own. He spoke very well. He was active, working very hard, and he brought the party to power. I would be shocked to my marrow if John Boadu can win. And if you hear the endorsement going on, of course, as Sir John said,
fear delegates.
But I think it will be very difficult for anybody to beat him. Take Samia Wuku. In the case of Samia Wuku took youth politics to a different level. Indeed, there were people within the NDC who were always comparing Samia Wuku to their own youth organizer. And I mean, listening to various platforms, I have heard even NDC people saying, look, Samia Wuku must be rewarded for the work he did. And I think they are fantastic individuals. That is why I felt it also plays in favor of Mr. Blake. So between Samia Wuku and John Boadu, in fact, I'm not a betting man, but if I were to bet, there's absolutely no way.
You put your pennies on this too.
Everything I have.
Kojo, I mean, you are obviously in the party. Do you think John Boadu, as a general secretary, played his part well? Something he could have done more, or you think, look, he rose to the occasion?
We call him general.
He's earned that title.
Yeah. he has been there for about 20 years. Party politics. I mean, at the headquarters, became organizer, and out of the elections that was held in 2014, he had the biggest numbers as national organizer, overwhelming endorsement of himself. And if you see this last, elections that we held, the commitment, the hard work.
But if you speak up a bit.
Yeah, the hard work, the commitment, his loyalty to the party. And at any point in time, before we come to the other matters, there should be somebody who is loyal, true blue person, true blue, red and white person of the party, who no matter the enticement, no matter the difficulties that the person is going through personally, will stand for the party. And John Boadu showed that character when the occasion came. At a time that, Commander Japan is a huge person, and he fit his position. He came into his position with a lot of experience, and people were like, how is it possible that he will be able to fit into the shoes of Comrade Japan, and he did that perfectly. I mean, his engagement with the media, his level of intelligence, anytime there's an issue and he has to speak to it, the comportment and the conduction he did in speaking to the issues. I mean, General Secretary at the same time, organizer and head of the campaign. He deserved to be given the opportunity to really be the substantive General Secretary, and no matter what it takes, I don't think Dombedi will lose the elections.
How about Sami as a youth?
And the same with Sami Ewoku. Like, he brought in a lot of innovations as a youth organizer. And normally, youth organizers are giddy type, demo only. But at demo level, he was there. Demonstration level, he was there. At engagement, bringing up issues, social media, he was able to build teams that were on social media, throwing it out, everything that is happening in the NDC government. I mean, if there's one issue, they will not finish and another issue will come. And I mean, they held their and like Mr. Odro said, most of the times you ask whether NDC had a youth organizer, because what he was doing was fantastic, and that makes it that's why we have a difficult choice between Nana B and Dominic, because we are looking at
Sami Ewoku as a yardstick.
As a yardstick, and we're trying to see what all these two people bring on board to select our next youth organizer. So nothing will change. John said fear delegate, but this one
between the
two. Delegate. How about Nana B? You think you'll be a good fit?
Nana B and Dominic and Kama is a very tough race. I vote. I'm a youth.
Okay. Are you allowed to say who you vote for, or it's not fair?
I'm allowed to say who, but I don't think it's fair now to say who.
No, for the youth organizers, for that. Yeah, I'll spare you the general and the chairmanship.
Yeah,
as for
the two hottest positions, the chairmanship and the youth.
And the women organizer.
And the women organizer.
The women organizer.
Yeah.
Oh, but the Nasara too is also.
I was going to come
yeah.
do Nasara.
So it's a hot
and treasurer. I mean, treasurer too. There's so many.
There's also the job.
What about Kamadi? What does he say?
I think he has the sign. I don't know, but he's also there. And today in Parliament, we were discussing, and one of the youth MPs, and one of my colleagues said the person he fears most is Kamadi, because he knows that he's doing stuff behind the scenes. And that is where the fear delegate can come in. So let's see what happens.
Interestingly, I've had an opportunity to go around the country a bit in recent time. And they are all campaigning up north. Yeah. The 3 northern regions, they are all active there.
Wow.
I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw their posters that say, wow, people are taking this to a new level.
The youth organizer, all of them are working very hard.
The Nasara thing, is it a cause to rejoice or a cause for concern?
A cause to rejoice.
14 candidates.
Yeah, in the sense that the foresight of our leaders in getting that particular wing, that concentration for that wing of our party is bearing fruit, especially in the last elections. You can see from the votes that came, the Zongo votes that came was huge. Hitherto, our friends in NDC were in control of the Zongo vote, and they called the shot. But we have been able to make so much inroads into them, try to erase that perception that we are elitists, we look down on them and we don't want them. All those things are now being taken away, or it has been taken away. Now leadership, because of the interest, because of the attention that has come to the interest has gone up. Everybody is proud to be the leader of that wing, and that's how come a lot of a total of 14 people, 14 Muslim leaders are putting themselves up to contest for.
Fred, let me come to Fred. Fred, do you think is it a matter to rejoice or a matter for concern?
Well, I think the numbers themselves may not be bad, but again, offhand, there are only about 2 of them that I think I know. Of course, I'm not too active within their circles, but well, maybe let's see. I'm not too. I wouldn't be worried if I were to be part of the NPP. It may only be good for them that people within the Zongo communities will be interested in leading that wing. Yes, I think it's good for them. It cannot be negative.
And briefly, the women organizer, what do you reckon?
I think that is also another critical area.
The hot seat.
Hot contest. And from what I gather, both are solid individuals, people who have worked for the party, and they are also campaigning very actively. And I don't know who will win. Sincerely, I don't know. In fact, I don't know either of them, but their names have been bombarded all over the place. So it's an interesting one to watch too. I don't know which one is Namisa, which one is Job Ground.
Well, it's going to be absolutely interesting on Saturday. Let's hope that everything goes on peacefully, which I think we know it will go on peacefully. And those who win, let those who win, and come and govern with integrity. And then the next time we sit here, we'll look going forward. How do we eliminate this issue of this perception of money into politics, which is a dangerous thing in our politics. Thank you very much for watching, and I always give you this number. It's 0244 366 2001. 0244 366 2001. That's Tanti's Fashion. They make my shirts for the show, so give them a call and get yourself a nice shirt. And I want to say thank you very much to the gentlemen in studio for giving us that insightful conversation. To you at home, we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you. Thank you.